Hey there, amazing people. If you love interesting stories, then you're in the right place. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss out on the fun. Join our awesome community. We've got something special for you every day. Don't forget to like, comment, and share with your friends. Thanks for being part of this journey. The neighborhood affair. It was just another typical Saturday afternoon in the neighborhood. The sun was out, kids were playing in their yards, and most of the adults were either tending to their gardens or enjoying a quiet afternoon. We lived in a cul-de-sac, a small, close-knit community, where everyone knew everyone's business, but also had that unspoken rule of respecting privacy, to a point. The affair had been going on for a couple of months, before anyone had a clue. At first, it was just whispers, rumors passed between the mothers in the neighborhood, hushed conversations over coffee, or while picking up the kids from school. My best friend, Rachel, was one of those who had always prided herself on knowing what was going on in the block. But even she didn't know how deep things had gone with Liz, the stay-at-home mum from the corner house, and the charming single dad who lived across the street, Kyle. Kyle had been living in the neighborhood for about a year tall, good-looking, always friendly. At first, he was just another new guy trying to fit in, but the women, especially Liz, were drawn to him. He had this air about him, charming, but a little mysterious. Not that it was unusual for a man like him to stand out, but there was something about Liz's reaction that struck me as off from the very beginning. She'd start leaving her husband, Greg, home to care for the kids while she ran errands, or had some me time. But she was never gone long enough to really be anywhere. But it wasn't until about 3 months into their little secret that I began noticing the signs. Liz would get home late from yoga or book club, but her hair was always messed up in a way that didn't fit with the pristine image of the stay-at-home mum. And Greg, poor Greg, he seemed oblivious. It wasn't that he wasn't paying attention, it was that he trusted Liz, probably more than anyone should. Then, one Tuesday afternoon, it all came to a head. It was an ordinary day in the neighborhood, except it wasn't. I was sitting on my front porch with my neighbor, Sarah, when we saw a black SUV pull up in front of Liz's house. It was a little strange because Liz didn't usually have visitors during the day, but Sarah and I didn't think much of it. We had our kids to keep an eye on. But when we saw a woman get out of the SUV, Sarah froze, her eyes wide. "That's Kyle's ex-wife," she said quietly. I had never met her, but I'd seen her a few times around the neighborhood. She was tall, sharp-eyed, and had a presence about her. You could tell she wasn't the type to let things slide. We watched as she walked straight to Liz's front door, her heels clicking loudly against the pavement. At first, I thought it might have been a coincidence, a simple neighborly visit. But then I saw Liz through the window, visibly tense, looking out from the kitchen, her face pale. Sarah and I exchanged a glance. Within seconds, we saw the door open, and Kyle's ex-wife stormed inside. There was no small talk, no pleasantries. You could see the confrontation brewing before the door even closed behind them. That's when Sarah leaned in close and whispered, "She knows." Sure enough. About 15 minutes later, the scene unfolded right before our eyes. Kyle's ex-wife came back outside, this time carrying a manila envelope. Liz followed her, her hands shaking, her face flushed with panic. And then, in the most dramatic moment of it all, Kyle's ex-wife served her the papers, the divorce papers. I don't think I've ever seen anything like it. The street felt like it had frozen in time. Liz tried to laugh it off, saying things like, "This isn't what you think, I swear." But Kyle's ex wasn't having it. She said, loud enough for everyone to hear, "You can't play the victim anymore, Liz. This is your doing. You think my son doesn't know? You think Greg doesn't deserve to know?" By now, Sarah and I were practically holding our breath. I could see Greg pulling into the driveway. He had no idea what was going on. He looked so cheerful as he came home from work, completely unaware that his wife was about to lose everything. As he stepped out of the car, Kyle's ex-wife turned toward him, holding the envelope up high. "Your wife," she said, her voice carrying across the street, "has been sleeping with my husband for months, and now she'll face the consequences." Greg stopped dead in his tracks, his face drained of color. I swear, the look of shock and betrayal on his face is something I'll never forget. It was like his whole world crumbled in an instant. Liz, standing behind him, looked helpless. "Greg, she started, but the words stuck in her throat. Kyle's ex-wife didn't waste another second. "You don't deserve to be humiliated like this, Greg. You need to know what kind of woman you married." For a moment, it felt like time stopped again. There were no more words, just the sound of distant birds and the hum of the summer heat. And then, everything happened fast. Greg turned away from Liz, his hands shaking as he grabbed the envelope from Kyle's ex. Without another word, he walked back to his car and drove off, his face pale and expressionless. Liz, left standing there in front of her house, just collapsed. Her knees buckled, and she sank to the ground, her sobs loud and raw. It was heartbreaking to watch. The affair, the secrets, it had all unraveled in front of everyone. But the worst part was, the entire neighborhood had witnessed it. As the dust settled, I could feel the gossip already swirling. The whispers started almost immediately. Everyone had been waiting for something like this to happen, but no one thought it would come in such a public, dramatic fashion. After that day, Liz was a different person. I don't know what happened to her marriage, if it even survived. As for Greg, I heard he moved out, taking the kids with him. Kyle, well, he wasn't seen much after that either, though I'm sure he faced his own share of consequences. As for me, I tried to keep my distance, but I couldn't forget what I had witnessed. That afternoon had changed everything in the neighborhood. We all knew it. Sometimes, it's not the things we hear about that shock us. It's the things we see unfold right before our eyes. This version should fit well into a 20-minute storytelling format, providing a detailed, real-life narrative with tension, emotional conflict, and an authentic sense of unfolding drama. It's designed to feel like a personal recollection from someone who was right there when everything happened. Let me know if you'd like to adjust or expand any parts.